Am I good?
Yeah.
Oh, there's echo. How about now? No.
Sorry. There it is.
Okay,
Yes.
good. I'm going to call the meeting of the Tainter Lake Rehabilitation District meeting to order, March 19th, 2026. Roll call vote or roll call for the membership. Let the minutes indicate that Chuck Tack, Al Brown, Tom Bills, and Jim Zons are present. The other three are gone unless they're attending virtually, which nobody is logged in. Approval of the agenda and the regular meeting minutes for 2/19 and the Aquatic Vegetation Committee of 12/9. Is there a motion?
I have our Carp and Muskie Committee of January 13th and Boating and Safety of, I got that date wrong. Boating and Safety doesn't belong in there, I'm sorry. But we have Carp Muskie Committee of January 13th
Okay,
as well.
okay, so that would be one regular meeting and two committee meetings.
Yep,
Is there a motion?
I move.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Any additional discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Recognition of visitors and visitor comments. There are no visitors and so there's no comments. Commissioner communication, are there any commissioners that have communication they would like to share with the board?
I do have some. First of all, I attended the Alliance of Dunn County meeting last week. There are 24 applicants for the conservation intern that we help fund. If your project, and I'm speaking to the commissioners here, if your project needs a helping hand, please let me know so I can arrange for that intern to help. Myself and Chuck Tack attended the Red Cedar Watershed Conference last week, where we spoke about forming the Lake District and the projects we have planned for this year. We are, during a conversation with Muskies Inc. recently, I found out that they will again take care of transportation and permitting of our fish for this fall. The muskies we will receive this year will be 16 to 20 inches long instead of 10 to 12 inches that we received last year. The price will be higher, $45 versus $18, but the survival rate will be 5 times higher than the smaller fish. So there is some good payback on that. And it didn't matter if we wanted the smaller fish anyways, because this is what's available. So that's all I have.
Okay.
I have one, I went to a farmer-led dinner 10 days ago at the Viking Bowl in Colfax, and I was asked to represent the Lake District and Lake residents and be on a panel with a farmer and a non-farmer resident. And went pretty good. Only got asked 2 questions, and I think we did pretty good on that. So it was a nice meeting. They probably had 60, 75 people there.
Good, good. And just kind of blow the horn or give you guys a pat on the back. I know Tom and Chuck for the minutes and for the audience that reviews this meeting. They did present at the UW Stout conference. And you guys figured there was what, 60 people in your section? Talking about lake districts and made a presentation as to what we were doing and I just wanted to thank you guys
You're
for
welcome.
doing that. And it seems like we're getting known a little bit wider than just um a close circle around the lake, that we're involved in a lot of organizations and meetings outside of what you would just say is on the lake banks of our lake district. So good job.
Thank you.
Jim, did you have anything that you wanted to share? Okay. Moving on to the treasurer's report. I believe,
I have it here if you need it, Al.
Yeah, Jackie sent that out. Tom, do you just want to kind of read off our balances?
Sure.
Or,
Kunkel's report, treasurer's report,
right,
showed a balance of $32,443.99 in our checking and $23,279 in savings.
good. Just to add to that, we have, for the next agenda in April, we have our, review, that was done, by, K. Cole Bookkeeping, reviewed our processes and our, expenditures in that, and they have a report that Jackie and I will be, sharing with the board, next month. We have to pay our bill first and then we get the report. So I'll give it to you as soon as Jackie's back from vacation and pays the bill, and then we'll get the report and then we can discuss the report. They made several suggestions to improve our processes and we'll take it from there. So do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to accept the treasurer's report. Any further discussion?
The only thing I'll say, just, and this doesn't have to do so much about the treasurer's report, but just for sending like stuff out, I got a check from Jackie for the web hosting, and it came from Kunkel's. And I was like, why am I getting a letter or something from the Kunkel's? So I think it might be worthwhile for us to invest in like a stamp with our address and stuff, so it looks just a little more legit
Right,
when we send stuff out.
Official.
Yeah,
right,
Good idea.
right. Yep, yep. And
it's cheap.
there's money for that in the budget. I think it's just a question of having it done. I would say, is it a stamp or is it just cheaper to buy a box of envelopes with our return address on them
Printing is always more expensive
than a just,
than a stamp, but whatever. I mean, you could find out how much they cost, so.
okay. That's a good thing. Bring that up next month when we talk about that, Jim. That'd be good. I'll write it down in my notes here in a minute. Did we vote? Oh, no, we didn't vote. So
Yes.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports and updates, sedimentation, Tom? Anything to update us?
The project is struggling to find financing to get underway, and that's kind of an understatement. I will be moving forward with a different approach. That approach is roughed out, but it is not, there's nothing on paper for how we're going to look to the future. I need to talk it over with Al a little bit first, so.
Well, and I think the frustration that Tom shares, and just to make it a little bit more public, is that there's a lot of solutions, but no funding for those solutions. And so we're running into our grant. The DNR didn't approve our grant, which doesn't mean that we can't apply for another one next year, but we're already applying for one. I'm thinking that um, we don't stand a good chance if we have, you know, three different grant applications out there and get one. And I'd hate to get the one that we didn't have the highest priority. And so, but what we're gonna start working on and to bring back to the group is some plans to see how we can start financing some of this stuff, or at least creating some allies in our endeavor.
And the problem with this project is the DNR turned down our request for the grant because the project isn't shovel ready. We can't get the project shovel ready without outside help. So kind of darned if we do, darned if we don't, I guess. So
But we're working on it. Aquatic vegetation, Adam isn't here. I haven't heard the status of our or our plant management.
I can update you a little bit. I've been talking to Adam, and
Okay.
he sent it in 10 days ago to Tyler Mesock, who's reviewed it with Alex Smith. And Adam and I and Tyler have a Zoom call next Wednesday to go over the aquatic plant management plan, and haven't heard anything from Tyler pro or con on it. So I guess we'll find out on Wednesday.
No news is good news.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it too.
Okay. Boating and safety?
We met earlier this month. And we're hoping to have something ready to go for in order to have our new waterway permit applications submitted to the DNR, we need to have an updated ordinance, and running into issues with getting the legal stuff taken care of because of a lack of help with our initial law department that we're working with. So we're trying to find another legal avenue to make sure that we are crossing our Ts and dotting our Is to make sure that the updated ordinance is done properly. So we won't have anything ready to like take action on this meeting.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, just maybe a side note, for everybody, Bob and I, when he comes back from vacation, are going to be, cleaning buoys and, relabeling them, because some of the changes in locations and things like that. So, once I get I had figured on doing it when I came back from vacation, but because there's snow in my driveway yet, it's not gonna happen for maybe a week or two, but once it gets ready, I may call on some of you guys if you wanted to come over and bring your knee boots and help me wash up buoys.
And one of the other things that those guys are going to do is like relabel chains and stuff like that. We've kind of come up with a new numbering and labeling that hopefully is a little easier to kind of keep track of things. And buoys will not necessarily be paired up with the same weights or chains. So those will be labeled differently. Those will be mostly done by, depth, that type of thing. But at the same time, we're also going to label the buoys so we can keep track of them, give those their own. We'll probably go with letters for that since we're gonna number everything else. So that they aren't confused or associated with a specific numbered location. And we're also gonna try to keep track of those by date. So that
There's a schedule.
so there's a schedule and so that we can kind of keep track of how old they are, plus some that we've already gotten some new ones. And if, let's say, the tailor-made ones only last 4 or 5 years, we'll know that those were not a good purchase to get compared with the original buoys.
Right.
Trying to be smart.
Good. I like that. Anything else?
That's it.
Chuck, I apologize. I kind of cut the boating and safety really. Was there anything in aquatic vegetation that you wanted to say?
No, just that thing about the Zoom call with Tyler and,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
I moved on rather quickly. I
That's okay.
apologize.
I was done.
Okay. Water quality, you're up.
Okay, I got a couple of things here. I've been working with Kevin, McGrath with Dunn County on, getting a mock-up for a boat cleaning station for the Kleist Landing. And we had our meeting on Monday, but they canceled it because of the snowstorm and they moved it back a week. So hopefully this Monday we'll have some information on that. Kevin and I have done a lot of research on it, so I'm eager to see what they came up with. Their funds are limited like ours. They asked for a donation and I said, I don't know what I can do since we kind of have been spending some money at the last meeting. And I came up with a minor solution here that usually my birthday money goes to the Tainter Lake Rehab District, and I'll tell my kids to send it to Dunn County for the first cleaning station. And hopefully that, that'll give them a little bump and, they'll be happy with that. I think they're pretty pressed for funds. Second thing is carb committee, been working with Barb and Dave Kleist and, the Shervies and Tom, and we are closing in on a set of rules just about done that I think we're ready to send to Jim Zons and ready for a QR code, and it's coming together pretty good. I'm really, really happy with that. And Tom, what else?
I think that's it. We discussed signage
Yes.
for the landings, and we discussed a possible banner that we might be able to put on the side of Jake's. We have some prices that were pretty reasonable. But we haven't met. When do we meet next? Soon to approve those minutes. So,
April 15th, I think.
okay, so we will have that for you next month.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a QR code on the signs too, right, Tom, if I remember right?
Yep.
And we have a great logo that Barb Kleist designed with a picture of a carp and Tainter Lake district surrounding it. And like I say, it's starting to come together.
Cool. Good. Well, thank you for your work on that. Community connections, the only thing I can say about that is I had a couple of emails this month, while I was on vacation from, Jane, Brzezina, and, just, I can't remember what they're about, but they're a senior moment, man. They're, they're working on next fall's event already, so, away we go. Is there any other discussion that we need to on all the committees and the updates? It looks like we got a bunch of things going, and that's a good thing. Okay, we'll move to the discussion and action portion of the meeting. Approval of a proposed cloud-based subscription service for productivity and collaboration. Jim, I believe this is aimed at you.
So we're already used to working in the Google environment, so I kind of looked at some different options for Google Workspace and how to set that up. And doing some research, I found, I mean, you can do something directly with Google, but it's not recommended. So going through a reseller, and through some reviews, found this company called Sweetbriar that seems to be relatively okay. And they came up with uh, a pretty much a simple proposal, which I sent to all of you guys via email. I am now sharing it on the screen for the viewers at home. And you guys can see it if you look over your shoulders. So essentially, this is it's a workspace business starter plan. It's the lowest level. Let me kind of just show you. There are all these different levels of plans, and I'll show you like this. This is the things that are included with this. And here's the business starter plan is the one that's the furthest on the left. And it comes with email, calendar, Drive. Drive is where you can store files. Meet would be could replace Zoom then. Calendar would allow us to create all sorts of, like, we could do our meeting calendars on there and share calendars that way. You can do internal calendars, so it's calendars just for, committees to keep things on task and what have you. And then it has all sorts of other stuff that are built into it. The only things it doesn't have are cloud search costs Google services, who cares? Google Vault, who cares? Integration of third-party stuff, we don't need any of that. A number of users can be 1 to 300. Okay. You get 30 gigabytes of shared storage pooled. That would be then between all of the users. I don't foresee us using any more than that, but we can add additional storage should we need it. And then there's all these like third-party apps and all that stuff that we don't, again, don't necessarily need. Let me go back to, and if we decide to upgrade, we can go to some of these other ones like the business standard and the plus, or I just don't see that we're going to need that for an organization this small. So I'll go back to the contract. And it's in your name as the chairman, Al, of the organization. And this is their cost is $7 per month. In order to get that rate, we have to be on a 12-month contract, which I don't see any problem with that. I have them billing us monthly, but we can set that up any way that we want. But it still would be a 12-month contract. Also, the billing it monthly or quarterly or yearly does not affect the price. So sometimes if you pay in a year in advance, you get a discount, but that doesn't happen. The only thing that is stipulated, we have to maintain 7 users. So like if somebody dropped off this board, we'd still be paying for that 7th user regardless. We can always go up users. And here's where I foresee that happening. Let's say we have somebody, I would pick on Bob if he's here, but he's not. But let's say we have somebody who's a regular volunteer or serves on a committee and wants to have a Tainter Lake District email account because they do enough stuff that it warrants it, because there's going to be enough communication between them, then we could go up and add them as another $7 user. Also, let's say somebody steps down from the board or there's an election and there's a changeover. Chances are we're going to have some overlap then too. We would have a new user that would start, and we may have someone that either step down, maybe they're not going to serve on the commission, but they're still going to serve in some capacity. You see that a lot of times in organizations, school districts will keep somebody, let them have that email for forever or for a long time. We'll probably need to come up with a policy. Let's say, Tom decides to retire, but he still wants to be active and wants to keep his Tainter Lake District email. Maybe they have to pay for it or something like that if we decide to go that way or whatever. So we'll have to have some sort of policies toward that. But that's essentially how it'd be set up. It, again, $7 a month. The total yearly annual cost would be $588 a year for 7 users. So I initially thought usually they say it's like $10 a month, and I think if we bought it directly through Google, it would be $10 a month. And this is like the discounted reseller rate. Questions about that? If we vote to approve this, I can have them set it up tomorrow, and they can do the contract is what I'm sharing on the screen and requires a signature, and I thought you were gonna be out of town. But they can still do an electronic signature, so we don't have to print it and scan it and send it back.
The only question, Jim, I would have is, what are you estimating as the level of management that this is gonna take? And, you know,
Not a huge amount. I
Okay.
mean, initially, it's gonna be the setup. It's also gonna be importing everybody's email accounts, existing ones, into this platform. If you set up a Gmail account just to use for this, you would go away from using that or use it for something else or delete it at that point when it's done. Because all of that email would then get imported into this. And then from that point forward, it would just be the only management would be setting it up occasionally, or like a new user, getting rid of a user, changing a password now and then, and not much more than we're doing right now, which is nothing much. So
what I just didn't want to do is create another burden for probably the most technologically savvy person on the board, which would be you.
I thought it was you.
I'm learning,
But
I'm.
there would
to
be,
your level.
yeah, there would be there's gonna be some, a certain amount of time, probably a half a day at least, to set this whole thing up.
Yeah.
They can do it. And their hourly rate was some ridiculous amount, it was like $400. And I said, no, not gonna do that. So I said, do we have to use you to set it up? And no. And they have to set the accounts up, but I would be able to import all the mail and set up all of that stuff. So, I wanted to make sure there's no additional setup fee beyond that.
Well, I just wanted to keep your workload reasonable. And
Yeah,
I just didn't want to create another obligation, that to pile on you.
mhm.
So that's what I was asking for. Do you have any questions?
The payment has to be either ACH or check, not credit card,
ACH or check.
which is probably fine anyway, so.
Right. Questions?
When are we looking at starting this, Jim, do you think?
If it's approved today, I would start setting it up tomorrow. And then once that, because I don't know when, like I said, I don't know when Google's gonna shut off the other stuff. I mean, some of you may have seen the little message that comes up.
I got one.
Up at the top that says, attention, this is going to end, and it's in red now. Was never in red before. So it's going to end perhaps by the end of this month. But I mean, they were going to shut it off at the end of January. So every day I'm surprised it hasn't happened. So the sooner the better to do the transition and setup if we're going to do this.
Well, Jim, I trust your suggestion here. I'm wondering, does it make sense to pay monthly or annually? Is there,
I think
there's no financial incentive, but
not really. It's just like a accounting thing. Also, you could do it quarterly. I'm not sure how they do it then when, like, if we'd add a user or something like that, but and that's the thing I'll probably ask is, because chances are what we'll get is like an administration panel for, I know how it works because I've done this for another client as far as administering the emails and that, and then seeing if we just are able to just add one, then they just start billing at that point, or if I have to ask them to add the new user. But yeah, it doesn't matter to me as far as how we.
I think financially, it would make sense to pay it once. I mean, then you're not making a ACH payment once a month, and that's one less thing that you have to keep track of. We go to this work, we're gonna commit to it for a year anyway, and so.
And I'm wondering if well, yeah, I guess if they do check. So it says on this, it says enable auto pay upon first payment. Yes. So it would just be an automatic payment using ACH,
Right.
credentials.
Right.
So whether it's, I mean, probably if an accountant were here, they'd say to do it monthly, because if you take that out of your checking account, that's that much little less interest that you'll be making on that. It's pennies, but it could be what
Yeah.
keeps us afloat.
I'm thinking of Jackie having to reconcile monthly, whatever that amount is monthly. So
Okay.
I would, let's put it this way, I would just recommend doing it, do a one-shot deal, pay for the
Sounds
year
good.
and be done with it.
Sounds good to me. I can just make them change the contract then.
If that's okay. If it's a big deal to change the contract,
Nope.
no, then,
No, I'm sure they'd rather get it all in one lump sum too.
yeah, and then it's done. So, I think, can we have a motion?
yeah, I'll make a motion to accept Jim's suggestion for using this cloud-based subscription.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to use, to approve the, agreement with Sweetbriar, for, Google Workspace. And, that would be for the next coming year. All those in favor? Is there any more discussion?
Do you need the Sweetbriar spelling?
I have it.
Okay.
I'll look it up later. That's fine.
All those are there any other discussions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tainter use, just an update on the Tainter, use survey by UW Stout. I have the contract for that. It's interesting. They're gonna charge us before we get any work out of them. But, I can't remember what I, presented as the, um, cost of that, but the cost has gone up a little bit. It's a little over $2,000. Does anybody have any heartburn about that?
No.
Is this the one with Tina Lee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for two students, to survey, who's using the lake. And I think there's like 1 or 2 weekends a month, at the boat landings. And of course, they'll want, um, Lake District people to be there with the students and, so I'm gonna be looking for volunteers to help the kids out. The other thing I was thinking about is sometimes if they're at boat landings, if you live on the lake, you don't go to a boat landing. You know, and, so maybe some of us can put them on our pontoons and drive them around and they can take the survey out on the lake. You know,
Not the worst.
I haven't seen the, methodology yet for the, survey, so that's just some stuff that's coming up. But I will, submit that, proposal to, Jackie for payment. Approval of the new, buoy placement coordinates, we put that in, but that was, predicated on Jim getting a legal opinion and, because has been no legal opinion, I guess we will, take no action on that agenda item. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that, Jim, as long as we're on that subject? I mean, there's no action that we can take, but,
No,
I mean, you talked about it before.
right. Yeah, there's not really much else to say that we need to make sure that we're doing everything properly since we're updating an ordinance. And so I want to make sure we have a legal opinion on that
Okay.
before we move forward.
If we can't find, I mean, we have, legal money, budgeted. If we can't find anybody, then I think we have to look at, one of the bigger firms locally and then just go with that and not, and we just have to just deal with it that way to get it done. Otherwise, we could be looking for a long time.
Yes.
That's it. Oh, next meeting. Agenda items for the next meeting. I have financial review. That's the results of our financial review to go over that.
You put us down for, the mock, um, boat cleaning station again.
Okay. Do you want that as an action item or do you want to do that under under the committee report?
I can do it under the committee report, sure,
Okay,
just like you did last time. That was great.
okay. Yeah, because if you're not taking any action,
Yep. Though we might need the approval to go ahead if they come up with a definitive action plan.
well, if they come up with a definitive action plan, let me know and then I'll just
Okay,
move it down. I mean, we can amend the agenda,
okay.
if that comes in afterwards. We just amend the agenda. I will also put down, approval of new buoy coordinates, Jim.
Well,
and-
yeah, and it may be, have to be phrased a different way depending on
Right.
what we find out.
We'll put that in as a placeholder.
Yes.
Um. if you can think of different language that you want to put in there, just send me an email. I just put it down, amended location is really the action on that. Is there anything else? Oh, I'm going to probably want to talk about budget. Because get into April, there's May, June. And we're into another annual meeting and a budget cycle. But just think, that also means sitting on your pontoon absorbing the sun too. So,
They don't own a pontoon.
well, you can sit in your boat
I can sit-
or sit on your dock.
Mhm.
But the biggest thing is it may not be snowing. No,
You know, like,
notice I said may. Okay, so we got the budget discussion. And I guess we can actually start the annual meeting stuff because there's two of us up for reelection this year. I'm up for reelection and Jackie is up for reelection. Okay, anything else? Chuck, did you have something that you wanted to?
No, sir, I'm fine. Thank you.
You got it?
I just want to double check with you. I have our next meeting down as April 16th.
Yep. I will be zooming in on that meeting because I will be in Stevens Point at the Lakes and Rivers Conference. So I will, either Jim or Adam can chair the meeting. Anything else?
Nope.
Jim, did you have anything that you want to add to the?
I think I've added enough.
Okay. Well, there's always room for a little more. Kind of like dessert.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck, you good?
Oh, I'm great.
All right. How about a motion to
I'll make a
adjourn?
motion.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Notice